How to touch her soul, not just her body. Most men think loving a woman is about flowers, compliments, or expensive dates. But what if I told you that's not what makes her remember you forever? What makes her haunted by your presence long after you're gone is something far deeper. Something most men will never understand. If you want to love her like no man ever has, if you want to leave a mark not on her body, but on her soul, then this message is for you. Brace yourself, because the truth might sting, but it will set you apart from every man she's ever known. If you want to love a woman in a way she'll never forget, don't start with her body. Start with her mind. Why? Because the female brain stores emotional memory differently. Scientific research shows that emotional intimacy activates a woman's hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, more deeply than physical intimacy ever could. That means the way you make her feel will stay with her far longer than what you do with your hands. You can touch her skin and still never reach her soul. But if you make her feel emotionally seen, safe, and valued, you become unforgettable. Most men skip this step. They jump to compliments, seduction, or physical touch, thinking that's the shortcut to her heart. But she's heard all the lines. She's seen all the gestures. And if there isn't any emotion, what she rarely experiences is a man who's curious about her inner world. A man who asks her what keeps her up at night. A man who listens, really listens, when she talks about her dreams. Not because he's trying to impress her, but because he actually cares. That kind of attention isn't common. That kind of presence makes her feel chosen in a world where she's constantly being looked at, but never truly seen. Do you want to stand out? Then slow down. Stop rushing to impress her. Impress her with your ability to stay present, stay curious, stay emotionally available. That's rare. And women remember what's rare. She may not remember every conversation you have, but she will remember how you made her feel like she mattered, like her emotions were safe in your hands. That's what love actually looks like to her. And no, this isn't about being soft or simping. This is about being emotionally intelligent. It takes strength to be vulnerable. It takes discipline to be intentional. And it takes wisdom to love a woman with your mind before your hands. Women are wired for connection. When you engage her mind, you create the kind of emotional bond that becomes imprinted in her nervous system. That's not an exaggeration. It's neuroscience. Want to be unforgettable? Then don't just be another man who touched her. Be the man who transformed her, the one who made her believe that real love still exists, the one who saw her beyond her curves and her beauty. Love her mind first, and her heart will never forget you. She's been through enough chaos. Maybe it was an ex who cracked under pressure. But the next time you are cross or cold, or silent, or bitter, or hiding, or deflecting. Maybe it was her family, maybe it was a relationship that ended badly. When she meets you, she doesn't want to inherit your emotional baggage or patch your wounds. She wants a partner who is already whole, and who holds her safe, not someone she has to steer or repair. Science calls this emotional regulation. A study in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that women rate men as more attractive when they demonstrate emotional stability. Not because they're boring, but because they're reliable. When you stay steady during conflict, when you don't crumble under stress, when you meet her emotions without fear, you become her sanctuary. Most men crash and burn at this point. They think they must impress her with ambition, dominance, or hype. But a woman remembers the man who stayed calm, who didn't storm out, who wasn't reactive. She remembers the time you held her through a panic attack without solving it. She remembers the time you stayed in the Jeep letting her cry herself out, no interruption, no judgment. That's the man who becomes unforgettable. When she's vulnerable, emotionally or physically, her nervous system is looking for safety. She feels safe when you don't explode. She feels safe when your presence doesn't demand something in return. She feels safe when she knows your heart won't warp her emotions into drama. So when she leans on you during her darkest hour, don't treat her pain as a problem to fix. Listen, anchor, validate. You don't have to offer solutions, just offer presence. Build emotional shelters, not emotional projects. Because lasting love is not about who can change the other, but who can be enough as they are. Beauty fades, words get old. But when you speak to her deeper wounds, when you touch the places society told her to hide, you connect with her soul. You're not just appreciating her curve, you're honoring her story. And science proves emotional resonance creates long-term attachment. According to psychological research, emotional memory is stored more deeply than sensory memory. That means if you say something that releases tears, laughter, or catharsis, you don't become a lover, you become a lifeline. She remembers your words because they healed her. You don't need to suss out all her trauma like a therapist. You simply need to see subtle signs of pain, a hesitation, a recurring theme, a phrase she avoids completing. When you respond with empathy, not judgment, you're telling her you are safe, you are seen, you are worthy of love despite your scars. That's how you create intimacy that transcends time. When words are deployed to soften her pain, not just stroke her ego, love becomes an anchor, a cemented connection, not a fleeting moment. This is the love that stays inside her after you walk away, not her body, but her heart. Romance is initially like fireworks, but if you only show up in explosions, you're a flare, not a flame. The most memorable love stories aren't built on spectacle, they're built on steady commitment. She remembers the man who texts just to check in, the one who shows up for her sister's birthday, not because it's sexy, but because he cares. Consistency signals safety. Neuroscience supports that predictable, affectionate behavior triggers the brain's reward pathway, releasing dopamine and strengthening attachment. Abandon intensity and embrace constancy. She needs a man who's there in mundane moments and masterpiece ones, who kisses her in the grocery aisle and in the kitchen at midnight, who defends her reputation, not because he's courting her image, but because he values her. That level of consistency is rare. It leaves a mark that outlives any grand gesture. She gets hit on daily. She gets caters and curries. She doesn't need your money. She needs your attention. The most impactful gift you can give her is your full presence, not just body in the room, but mind in her world. Emotional synchrony beats physical proximity every time. The mirror neurons in our brain don't fire for proximity. They fire for connection. When she feels heard, not because you're nodding politely, but because her emotions are igniting your empathy, you become unforgettable. It doesn't take words. It takes connection. When dinner gets noisy, turn off your phone. When she's sharing her dream, don't interrupt with your origin story. When she laughs, laugh with her, not just at the joke, but with your eyes. When she's silent, hold space for it. That kind of presence doesn't just impress her, it imprints onto her heart. Loving her like she'll never forget you isn't about fireworks. It's about foundations, mind before body, sanctuary before hype, connection before performance. The relationship you build on these 5 truths won't just be remembered, it'll be unbreakably felt.